Talk about television that'll make you sleep with the lights on. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most disturbing criminal minds cases. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at cases from the original Criminal Minds series that went above and beyond your average serial killer or street crime, standing out as extremely disturbing, upsetting, or difficult to watch. However, we won't be considering any spin-offs like Criminal Minds Beyond Borders. Also, beware of spoilers and mature content ahead.
You make the best call you can, kid.
Number 10. The Reaper Storyline 100.
Is George a bad guy?
Yes, he is.
Though this is an overarching narrative rather than a case contained to one episode, the Reaper is simply too terrifying to ignore.
Are you scared? You should be.
George Foyet has a knack for three things: killing, manipulating others, and escaping justice. Having first tangled with Hotch & Company in Season 4, he returns the next year to leave a permanent mark on the series.
Jack, hug your mom for me.
The Reaper goes to Hotch's house and cruelly forces the man to listen as the mother of his child is gunned down. Though the BAU agent makes it to the house before the Reaper can kill his son too, it's too late for Haley. Between Foyet's sadistic need for power and seeing Hotch break, this is a tough storyline to get through.
Hotch! Hotch! He's dead! Hotch, stop!
Number 9. The Lake Murders, Epilogue.
You're under arrest.
This is yet another instance of an unsub who suffered abuse at the hands of a parent. And the flashbacks of this killer's father's savage beatings are as difficult to watch as the crimes his son goes on to commit.
Wake up! Wake up!
Making for a sight that's as uncomfortable as it is brutal, the killer stalks innocent victims that he can drown and then violently revive. Why? As a child, he had a horrifying near-death experience. Now, he's dying of cancer and is desperate to know what, if anything, happens after death. From start to finish, this case stood out as significantly darker than the average.
Hello, Dad.
Number 8. Decisions, North Mammon.
2 of you will leave this room alive. 1 of you will die.
You can go free whenever you'd like. You just have to kill someone first. When 3 teenage girls are abducted and forced into a dungeon-like basement, it's certainly distressing enough to see the parents of the girls panic. But when the killer lets his victims know that only 2 of the 3 will be walking out alive, it cranks the tension to an entirely new level.
Hey, mister! We made our choice!
Switching between shots of the BAU trying desperately to track the girls before it's too late, and the girls struggling with a decision that will change their lives forever. This case keeps audiences on the edge of their seats until the bitter end.
What's happening? Nothing, Fred. Nothing, go back to sleep.
Number 7. The Prince of Darkness, Our Darkest Hour.
Oh my god!
Few actors can bring the creep factor like Tim Curry. Known as the Prince of Darkness, Curry's character uses rolling blackouts throughout his target cities as windows to attack and rape his victims under the cover of darkness. Relishing the position of power his crimes put him in, his lack of remorse, and desire to inflict psychological trauma on his surviving victims surely makes even the most resilient of viewers queasy.
The press has named him the Prince of Darkness.
Prince, that'll fuel his ego.
What's more, one of the cops on the case has a personal connection to this killer that puts him and his loved ones at risk. Between that and leftover viewer trauma from Tim Curry's performance as Pennywise the Clown in It, this episode is pure horror. Number 6. Child Brides, Bloodline.
What if she doesn't like me?
Brainwashing, kidnapping, and child brides. Oh my. Any one of these would have made for an intense case, but presented all at once, these factors ensure that this Season 4 episode is truly and deeply disturbing.
Are you thirsty?
Please don't hurt me. It's only water.
A traveling Romany family is abducting young girls as potential brides for their young son, and watching how calm and collected they are about the situation is chilling. What's worse, we learn that the mother of the family was similarly abducted, and now simply accepts that this process is as normal as buying bread.
You don't recognize your own mother and father?
Unsurprisingly, her attempts to comfort the girls do not do much good, but they sure make us viewers uncomfortable.
Oh, everything's okay. You're a part of something now.
Number 5. Living Dolls, The Uncanny Valley.
Based on where she clipped these extensions, they were definitely still alive.
We're not sure what's the most disturbing aspect of this case, the horrific childhood abuse suffered by the unsub, or how she chooses to deal with it later in life. Referencing the dolls her abusive father gave her as a half-hearted apology, the now grown-up killer decides she wants to keep playing with dolls. Odd, but acceptable in principle. In practice, however, she satisfies this need with human dolls.
You're so pretty.
Capturing attractive young women and keeping them drugged and painted like toys, this killer soon finds out that humans don't survive long trussed up. When one's finished, she simply disposes of the girl and finds a new one, perpetuating the chilling cycle. Number 4. Cannibalistic Satanist, Lucky.
An inverted pentagram.
How many disturbing habits can you cram into one unsub? Apparently, quite a few. Not only marking his victims by carving satanic symbols into their chests, this killer also forces his victims to eat the fingers of his other victims. His taste for human flesh and desire to share it with his victims is bad enough. Does he really need to trick additional innocent bystanders into consuming human meat as well? Apparently, yes. In fact, this case goes so far that the unsub ends up serving human chili to search and rescue volunteers. You know what? A vegetarian diet is starting to sound like a good option after watching this episode.
Floyd, these are some pretty unusual recipes you got here.
Number 3. The Puppetmaster The Lesson.
Please just let me go.
How can I let you go? We haven't even started.
Some are born monsters, others become monsters. After suffering serious brain damage, the killer in this case reverts back to a childlike mind with the goal of recreating his father's murder. But this time, puppets save the day.
You know what I'm talking about!
I don't.
Yes, you do!
Obsessed with finding the perfect puppets for his show, he abducts and murders multiple actors before settling on the right pair. With dislocation scenes horrific enough to make viewers cover their eyes, the unsub's delusion and determination to see his performance through is as disturbing as his methods.
So he's a psychopath who thinks he's a kid again and wants to avenge his father's death.
Number 2. Scientific experimentation, To Hell and Back. A case too twisted to be solved in only one episode, this 2-part story was inspired by the real-life serial killer Robert Pickton. The killer here is actually a team of 2 brothers, with the paralyzed Mason acting as the brains of the operation and Lucas as the mentally delayed brawn. Together, they capture vagrants from the streets, so Mason can conduct his sadistic scientific experiments on them. Though he's attempting to cure his paralysis, the pleasure Mason takes watching his victims suffer and be fed to his pigs is obvious. And the final reveal about just where all those bodies went is sure to make your stomach turn.
Where are the bodies?
I don't think there's gonna be any bodies, guys. Pigs are omnivores. They'll eat anything.
Before we reveal our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
A photo wasn't all he took.
Read what?
Her lips have been removed.
Oh my God.
What is it, Dad?
Number 1. The Crematorium, Mosley Lane. Watching frantic parents search for their abducted children is difficult enough. Watching what happens to those children, though, is almost too much. For nearly a decade, this morbid couple has been abducting children from crowded public spaces and disposing of their victims via the crematorium at their funeral home.
Mama's gonna buy you a Epilogue.
Between the visceral shots of heartbroken and worried parents and the disturbed individuals committing the crimes, audiences are hard-pressed to keep their eyes on the screen.
It's only for a second, but she's always been the one that I'm worried about.
You can't blame yourself.
The heartbreaking finale of this episode taps into the viewer's sense of empathy and undoubtedly leaves everyone feeling a little emptier after the TV is turned off.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.